Okay, hi everyone. So this is the second episode of season one's buying a house. So in the previous episode, I covered some of the often okay not often missed but not so commonly considered reasons when trying to pick between a BTO and a resale. So other than the very obvious factors of budget and waiting time, I also talked about the how HDB resale, you can buy it on an as is basis, meaning you can exactly see what you're going to get. But on the other hand, BTOs are planned better or have a nicer floor plan for me lah. Personal preference. Depends on your whether you like having a common toilet in the kitchen or not. So that, as well as, and then the other thing was build quality, but build quality is like I mean resale flats also are deteriorating, so I don't know whether you see that as a better, technically better build quality or not. The other, actually, right, I thought I would be done with this topic lah, but actually there is one more thing I want to say. But once again, this one is assuming you're rich lah, meaning that you can actually afford say a resale lah. Okay, the other thing is that some people, I think lah, some people don't consider is how close the house is to HIP. So I noticed that in my block, right, there's a lot of people, not my block, sorry, my mother's block, which was built in 1996. So it would be due for HIP in 2026, which is next year. So, but I noticed that a lot of people in this block have been buying houses and renovating them nicely some more. And so I am thinking like, but you all realize that HIP is happening quite soon. So at the most you're gonna get like 1 or 2 years, maybe 3 years max use of your nicely built toilet reno. Okay, maybe they didn't reno the toilet lah, I don't know lah, but normally people will renovate their toilet as a matter of priority, right? Because you find that using the seller's toilet and toilet bowl and all that is quite gross. So I feel that if it were me lah, personally, I would buy a resale with some time left before HIP, so that at least I can get some max use out of my new toilet before I have to hack it down all over again for HIP lah. Of course, I don't know whether these people are thinking or hoping that all of us are going to vote against the HIP, but the chances of that happening is really very low, because in my blog, anyway, I realized that most of us are like the existing, like we were the first buyers because I know my neighbors. I've been staying there since 1998. So I know who my neighbors are, and most of us have not moved house lah. And I'm very sure we all want to have a new look for our toilets lah. I mean, we need all the fixtures updated and everything. And then for those few new neighbors in different floors who have just moved in and have a shiny new toilet, I'm pretty sure you guys are a minority. So we're totally gonna outvote you and have the HIP done. So too bad. I mean, you can opt out lah, but the thing is, I heard also that um it's a bit risky, because if you never do and then something happen or something go wrong, like you leak on your neighbor or whatever, or you got leaked also, you're not going to win the case, because HDB always wins. And then if there's any like rectification, if it can even be done lah, because I don't know, HDB don't know how they build, but if any rectification needs to be done, it's your fault. It's always going to be your fault, even if it's not actually your fault. But you know how fair, quotation marks fair, you know how fair HDB and town council are, right? That it's always going to be your fault no matter what. They are never in the wrong. I really hate HDB lah. I think HDB is one of the stupidest stat boards ever. But anyways, yeah. So I mean, that's a consideration. If you buy a house that's so close to HIP, then okay lah. Another way you can think about it is either you do very minimal reno to your toilet, maybe just change the sanitary fittings or something. Then you just tahan lor until HIP lah, because the sanitary fittings you can still keep. You can put aside and tell the contractor to reinstall. So maybe that's what they've been doing. I don't know. Because for me, myself personally, my house is built in 1998. So HIP is due in 2028. So what I did was, I did buy my own, I did hack everything lah. I redid the waterproofing and all. So technically that waterproofing, I should let it set for 5 years. So I'm kind of hoping that HIP will take a long time for my own house. Then if I can at least get 5 years use out of it, that would be ideal. But at the same time, knowing that HIP is happening, I also made sure I minimized the amount of reno I did. So nothing fancy. So I did buy 2 new toilet bowls, which I plan to keep lah if they are in good condition by the time HIP comes. I also have my rain shower that I also plan to keep. I mean, I will try to keep all the fixtures and fittings lah, especially the sink and all. But the sink, actually my sinks I bought super cheap. So maybe if I don't like them anymore, or if they're in a bad condition, I think sinks last lah. But if I want to change to another sink, I'll probably do it at the HIP stage lah. So I bought a really, really simple sink lah. Nothing, not the sink that I really wanted, which is a sink that have more space to maybe scrub clothes or what. I didn't get that because I couldn't find it. That was one problem. But I mean, I actually just picked the cheapest, and the sink design that I wanted, that was the cheapest. Actually, not a lot also. So yeah, I plan to keep, if I change lah. But so basically I just tried to keep my reno cost in my bathroom as minimal as possible. I did do my aluminium box up lah, but that one was also partly because I wanted to test it out, and it being accessible means my pipes at least could be accessed in case HDB wants to inspect my pipes lah. So yeah, I mean, I'm gonna go into that. I can go into my renovation like more in detail later, but this topic is more about like considering how much runway you have until HIP when you are deciding whether you want to buy a resale or a BTO. Okay, actually it's not resale or BTO lah. It's, if you want to buy resale, you must think about the HIP factor lah. Obviously, if you're gonna buy a newer resale, which is those like post BTO resale built in say 2005 onwards, then wait, 2005 means, yeah, 2005 onwards means 2035 is HIP, so you still got like a nice 10 years lah. So that one, if you don't want to so-called waste your renovation cost, like having to tear down after you just build, then I guess those houses will be your option. But you also have to think it's going to be much more expensive than the much older resale houses. By the way, I need to keep my video to 10 minutes lah. I think better, please, because I think beyond 10 minutes my camera will overheat, so I'm just going to keep it to 10 minutes. Okay, so now that I have talked about the considerations between BTO and resale, let me think, is there anything else? Okay, I think I will just, related, since I have about two minutes left on this video, related to my how resale is an as-is condition, meaning you can see exactly what you can do, versus BTO where you don't know what you can do. I also want to say that generally speaking, resale renovation guidelines are a bit more less restrictive lah. So resale, or especially it's like the older you go for the flats, the less restriction you have in terms of what you can do to renovate. So I think once again, related to the windows, the restrictions for resale flats are a lot more free. Sorry, how to say, it's easier for you to make changes lah to older flats as compared to newer flats. So even those that are built in the BTO era, so like 2005 onwards, right, you will have great difficulty changing a lot of things. And this also actually even applies to 3/4 windows. So I think there's very, very little information on 3/4 windows. That's why I keep going on and on and on about it, because I have gone through this experience myself. But in a nutshell, right, if you get those resale BTO which is built in 2005 onwards, there is a very good chance that you cannot replace the windows and change from casement to sliding. I would advise, before you do that, before you buy a house or commit a house or even decide what house to buy, try to talk to a windows contractor, as long as it's not ZGH Aluminium, is that the name? As long as it's not them, because they will tell you can, but then they will not do the work for you. So if you want to get some advice about whether your windows can be changed or not, talk to a contractor, but also at the same time ask the contractor if they would do the work for you, whether you can engage them or not, and whether they are willing to do the work or not. Don't be like me, ask contractor give me the advice, I never asked the contractor whether they want to do the job for me or not, but I just assumed they would. But the contractor actually turned out didn't want to do the job at all. So yeah, if you are not too sure, because guidelines seem to be changing quite here and there lah, got changed lah. So and then you don't understand what's going on. Read the regulations. That's one, and number two, get a contractor. I don't really want to recommend this contractor because they didn't do the greatest job and they monopolize the market. So if you do want to know which contractor I use to change my 3/4 windows, bearing in mind that my house is significantly older, so it was built in 1998, that's why I was allowed to change lah. I was allowed to change even from casement to sliding, which I feel very fortunate. But this contractor is basically monopolizing that sector because very few, if any, other window contractors are certified to carry out such installations. If you really, I don't want to talk, I don't want to mention the name because of my less than satisfactory workmanship. But if you are desperate, you want to know who, then you can maybe like drop me a comment or something, and then I will let you know lah. If nobody wants to know, I don't want to say lah. Yeah, I'll talk about windows at some point. I think maybe during the renovation season, the season that I will title how to renovate. So I think that will be all for the considerations for BTO versus HDB. Sorry, BTO versus resale. For the next episode, I think I will start covering how to shop for houses. Okay, see you guys in the next episode.